Hey, everyone. How's it going tonight? Great to see such a diverse crowd here. You know, diversity is like a box of chocolates. You never know what stereotype you're gonna get. But let's talk about stereotypes, shall we? Stereotypes are like the fast food of the brain. We know they're bad for us, but we just can't resist indulging in them sometimes. Now, before we dive into this, I want to make something clear. Stereotypes are not a good thing, folks. They're like the junk mail of human thinking. They clutter our minds and are usually way off the mark. But sometimes, they're so outrageous that we just can't help but laugh. So, let's start with the good stereotype. You know, the one where people say all comedians are depressed. Well, that's not entirely true. I mean, sure, we find humor in the darkest places, but that doesn't mean we're all walking around with a cloud over our heads. I went to my therapist the other day, and he asked, "Why are you always making jokes?" I said, "Doc, it's either that or I start crying, and crying doesn't pay the bills." But hey, at least we get to turn our pain into your laughter, right? Now, let's move on to the bad stereotype. You know the one, all blondes are dumb. I feel sorry for blondes. They must get tired of hearing that one. But folks, stereotypes are like the ingredients for a terrible recipe. Imagine a blonde, a redhead, and a brunette walk into a bar. The bartender says, "Is this a joke or the setup for a hair color convention?" But let's be real. Intelligence isn't determined by the shade of your hair. It's determined by your ability to laugh at yourself. And blondes, you've got that in spades. And finally, let's talk about the hilarious stereotype. You know, the one where they say all Italians talk with their hands. Now, as a comedian, I love this one because it's true. Seriously, I've been to Italy, and it's like a choreographed dance. You ask for directions, and suddenly, you're in a full-blown interpretive dance performance. Italians could probably communicate in a silent movie better than anyone else. And their hand gestures are so specific. They have one for the pasta is al dente, and another for Mamma Mia, I'm going to be late. In conclusion, folks, let's remember that stereotypes are like a cheap knockoff version of reality. They don't capture the beautiful complexity of the human experience. But, in the world of comedy, we can't help but find humor in the absurdity of these stereotypes. So, let's continue to laugh at ourselves and each other, break down those barriers, and remember that we're all just one big, diverse, and wonderfully ridiculous human family. Thank you, everyone. You've been a fantastic audience tonight. And remember, if you take anything away from this, let it be this: never judge a book by its cover, but feel free to laugh at the cover once in a while. Good night,